Welcome back everyone. I'm Gagan from Ielts with Gagan, and today we will talk about part 3 of our ongoing series where I talk about Ielts, its details, and how and why we should take the Ielts test. Today's topic would be how the Ielts test is scored. So let's get ahead and dive right into the video so that you can stop wondering why exactly do we get a 7 or an 8. Let's dive right in. Today we will talk about how the IELTS test score is provided to our students and how is the IELTS test really scored. So first of all, let's take a look at what the IELTS test really consists of. Number 1, it has 4 sections or 4 modules that are the skills that has been assessed in your IELTS test. First is listening, reading, writing and speaking, and each of the module is scored out of 0 to 9 bands, where 0 is the lowest and 9 band is the highest. 0 is only regarded in the case when you have not taken the test already, so we can say the lowest is kind of 0.5. So here, how is the overall bands calculated? Let's talk about it. So an average of listening, reading, writing scores are provided, and each of them is scored out of 9, which means that a compiled score of total whatever the score is out of 999 each, and it is divided by 4, which is your IELTS test score, right? And it is basically rounded off to your nearest 0.5. So let's suppose if you have a score of 6.2, you might need a 6.0, but let's suppose if you have a score of a 6.25, you might need a 6.5. I have also seen in some offer letters from Canada, US and UK, they specifically ask you to have an IELTS proficiency score of 6.28 or 6.27. So sometimes it is a little confusing for us, for all the students. So please make sure when it's written 6.25, you would need a 6.5 overall, right? And what exactly do IELTS band score mean? 9 is very expert, which means that the person is an expert user of IELTS. 8 is very good.
I didn't understand that.
However, they would make a few mistakes here and there. They are not exactly the native speakers, but they are very good in English. 7.0 is regarded as good. Here you can see that the good is basically more like where you have a good understanding of English overall, but you're not exactly as an expert who has learned English for a while now, for years and years, and you are not as proficient as a native speaker, but you fairly know well enough to get a test done or study abroad or read the complicated texts that are provided to you, but you're not as advanced because you might understand like 80% of the text, but at least 20% of the text you won't understand. Or let's suppose if there are scenarios where a native person is speaking in their heavy accent, you might not know about all the slangs and everything they're using, but you would fairly know about at least 70% of the English that they're speaking. So 7 bands is not bad. However, it's proficient enough that it comes under the advanced category. 6.0 is competent, which means that it is the kind of a level where you know what English is, you can speak fine, however you make a lot of mistakes. And 5 is obviously modest. Some countries do need a 5, and that is okay because English is just a language, it is not the marker of intellect. So let's talk about listening and reading scoring. So we have 40 questions each per section, and 1 mark is allocated to 1 correct answer, which means 40 questions and 40 points or marks. Here the raw score is converted into a band score via a conversion chart that depends upon what module you are taking. For an instance, if we are going ahead with the listening module, we have a different conversion chart, and on the other hand, if we have the reading score, we have different for both academic training and general training. To know more about academic and general training, you can watch our first video, that was part 1 of our series. And let's suppose you have an example of 35 out of 40. A student who has taken the IELTS test recently gets a 35 out of 40. So the band score would be 8. Let's suppose if a person gets 30 out of 40 in listening, that person would get 7. And on the other hand, if that person has 30 in reading, general training reading, that person would gain 6.0. Please do check out those conversion charts. You can find the link below in the descriptions so that you can follow up with whatever score you get. Moving on to writing and speaking scoring. Both are scored on 4 criterions. Number 1, if we are talking about writing itself, it is based on task response and accuracy, grammatical range and accuracy, vocabulary, and coherence and cohesion. On the other hand, if we are talking about speaking, it's all about fluency, grammar, vocabulary, and punctuations and pronunciations. So here it is very deeply rooted in our IELTS test, and if we need to get really deep into the point of this, we would need another video. So make sure that you subscribe. I would be making more such videos to go deep into these topics. Now, in order to get a higher band score in writing and speaking, you have to fulfill all these criteria. We have full lists of public band descriptors on Google, on our websites, and you can also check the link below in the description so that you can download. But in order to decode that, you should join our one-to-one classes that are completely online, flexible to your timing, and yes, I would be the one teaching you. So now let's talk about how your final band score is calculated. Let's suppose if you have a listening 7.5, kudos. Writing 6.5, reading 7.0, speaking 7.0. What is your overall band score? A 7.0. How is that? You add all these scores, you divide it by 4, and here you go with the score 7.0 out of 9. And do you want your scores to look more like 8, 9, 7.5, 8.5, and so on? Join us now. Make sure that you click on the subscribe button, and do not forget to ring the bell icon as well, so that you can be notified for the next videos, whatever they would be. Follow IELTS with Gagan both on Instagram and YouTube. Bye bye. Take care. Sayonara.